The number of violent men on the Love is Blind reunion stage last night, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And some of the men on that stage, like, I don't even know if most people realize are violent. At this point, women should be able to sue Netflix for reckless endangerment because either they are just not criminally vetting these men. I have so much to say. And I'm probably going to have to make another video about more specific. But there's one man on that stage that is like one of the happiest couples. But did we forget about this clown? Kenny, or whatever his name is? No, the cowboy. Before I get into him, I just want to recap really quick how dangerous this show is for women and how they should be able to sue the producers, Netflix, anyone involved with the vetting process or lack thereof, or knowing those red flags and just didn't care because they'd already, cast it and were like, oh, we don't have to find someone else. I mean, it's so hard to find any decent men for that show that they're literally putting criminals on the show. And that is reckless endangerment. Remember this guy? Carter the fisherman, who literally said, the only thing I think about all day long is fishing. What I really hope, and I don't know what's going on with this case, the woman who was engaged to that man is suing Netflix over hooking her up with this walking red flag. And now that we've seen this season, Carter's not so bad compared to these other psychos. So just for a refresher, Carter, who made it through, he literally was about to make it to the altar. They just cut out all his scenes because they're like, oh God, this man is like a liability. But he was unemployed with a negative balance in his bank account, homeless, violent, estranged from his family, and actively addicted to drugs and alcohol. His erratic and alarming behavior and emotional instability became glaringly obvious to his fiance and the production staff. That's why they cut him. They don't want us to see how dangerous these situations are for these women. I hope to God she wins this case. She became utterly terrified to be around him, and she even told the producers about her concern. She also said the production team had concerns about her fiance and warned her to ensure that he did not have access to firearms or weapons. Oh, you mean like Jeremy? Remember, I did I don't even know, maybe an hour-long breakdown of this dude and his relationship and how awful it was. And then he's even worse. I'm going to get into him. This man has DV charges. This man is like obsessed with pew-pews and scared the crap out of allegedly, of his former partner. But I'll get into that in a minute. Like, I'm not even talking about men who are homosexuals like Gary from The Golden Bachelor, who sold himself as this, but just weaponized his tears to convince women with money that he's a good guy, when really he is a gold-digging hobo-sexual, as the Hollywood Reporter came out with that expose, and I've already done many videos on that. I've actually wrote about this years ago for Glamour, this article here, about the dude who started The Bachelor as a DV dude. Like, I don't know if he was, I haven't dug into that story again in a while, so I don't know what happened to him. But the man who started this was abusive. He's a douche. I did a whole video on how much this man sucked. The guy from Who Wants to Date a Millionaire, which those men weren't even millionaires. I swear to God, they've been trying to convince us that we're the gold diggers for so long, and it's men. It's men. But they had a man who literally was, I think, unalived a woman. I mean, this show is literally full of gold diggers every season. And y'all know I did 10 videos on Izzy alone because he, to me, is the classic example of what women are dealing with now. We should be worried about men with more money financially abusing us. But at this point, these are the men we need to worry about most, because a lot of women at this point in time have realized we need to take care of ourselves. And just when we're doing well, one of these men will come in and he's like, financial credit score doesn't matter. Does the car I drive matter? You pretentious bird? None of that matters to me. Yeah, because you don't have one. He's the sad guy who claims that women are the ones who care about looks and money and drama. And he's so mad, like most of these men. Clay is a perfect example of a less toxic but very problematic version of Izzy in terms of, and what a lot of men talk about this. But Clay, like Izzy, talks like everything is about, what are you going to do for me? Are you going to love me? Are you going to build me up? What, all Clay talked about was all the stuff that AD did for him. None of it was ever about her unless it was in relation to what she did for him. He never asked what he could do for her. He never even thought of it. But when you have a dad like his who was awful to women, dragged his son to go cheat with, to cover for him, which that to me is a form of abuse. Like, what? But all these men, they want unconditional love. You know who gets unconditional love? The baby. The little baby gets unconditional love. Your child, your son maybe, until he becomes an adult, right? Because I'm sorry, men depend on women from their wives, their girlfriends, their mothers, their sisters, their everybody to love them unconditionally, even if they beat us. Which a lot of sons will literally unalive their mothers. I've done videos on that. We do not owe men unconditional love. A baby? Yeah. Of course, because babies are hard. Children? Yeah. But not adult men. Adult men do not get unconditional love. And yet they all expect it. Even from the people who did not birth them. And when they don't get it, they hide in closets. They say we're not good enough for them. They do this. Right? And then are like, God, you're so heartless. Can't you handle my vulnerability? Fork off. Men use their tears to exploit and prey on our empathy and all the ways we've been conditioned to mother them and be unconditionally loving to them. Don't fall for it. And they want someone who will fight for them. If I hear that phrase one more time, I swear to God, all the problematic men, especially Clay, and especially, I think Jimmy, and they're all like, fight for me. And Izzy was all, I want someone who will fight for me. You know what? That is code for, let me do whatever I want to you and extract all of your gold, emotional, invisible labor, even literally your money, and then fight for our relationship. Fight for me. No, I ain't fighting for crap. Do not fight for pieces of they ain't worth fighting for. Because this is who these men are. I love that Izzy gave us a perfect example of the most manipulative king baby. He's one of my favorite king babies ever. In terms of, God, he just literally, he proved every point I'm ever making. And this is who you're going to marry. The sad guy. The guy who calls you pretentious. When he doesn't get his way, he'll hide in a closet and say, I'm not good enough for you. You're not. Believe them when they say this. And when they're like, I will not be judged, judge them. Judge them. So Love is Blind has had men like this who are more, manipulative with their hatred. They have men like this who are treat contestants so awful, cross-examining, attacking someone who admitted she'd had an affair. Love is Blind just literally puts women on there to humiliate them. This woman ended up being one of my favorite characters, but she ended up with that firefighting Inchmel, who was basically reminded me of Matthew, to be honest. Don't ever do this for men, because this woman is awesome. I love the example she set for women last season. This woman is awesome. I love the example she set for women. This woman is awesome. And because Love is Blind is also really awful towards Black women especially, we didn't get to know how great she is because they literally edited it to make it look like she's a liar. So if I have one lesson from this show, it's I like the friendships that occur between the women, because the women all realize, just like all of us women in the real world are we need each other, because most of these guys are not only do they suck, they're terrifying. We got this one time. This couple is what hooked us. I mean, of course we like the drama and what's her name? Jessica or whatever, who was drinking out of the same wine cup with her dog, licking it too, gross. But this is why people watch this couple. Them and Brett and Tiffany. Bliss and Zach or whatever that guy's name is. I don't know. They seem pretty happy. They seem like they're probably going to make it. But I still have my eyes on you, Zach. I don't know if you deserve bliss. I don't know. But at the reunion, they have Izzy, who is one of my least favorite characters of all time, who still gets away with being a nice guy, but to me, this man would destroy your soul and empty your bank account. And then we have Micah. And I'm sorry, but you are the company you keep. And the fact that you were BFFs with that other chick who is so mean, and you're not a girl's girl, I don't think. Maybe you are. Maybe you've changed. Maybe you realized because of that show. Maybe you're not going to have the fate of Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann, you deserve this psycho. Actually, no one deserves this psycho. but you don't believe in abortion, so you're not a girl's girl. But Love is Blind will continue to put women in danger. The production company told her she would face legal action if she were to leave Love is Blind or discontinue with the engagement. I don't know if they've changed that policy because it seems like a lot of people are leaving, so maybe they don't have to pay the $50,000 or whatever. Either way, the fact that the producers and casting agents are not doing their job to keep these women safe, this should not apply to women. She said, in this climate of fear and unease, she began to spiral physically, mentally, and emotionally. She was expressly forbidden from interacting not only with other participants, but also with random hotel guests and staff. Now, again, I've talked about this before. Imagine being with a man that you're terrified of and not having any access to any support from literally anybody. Not being able to talk to anybody while going through that. I cannot imagine. I mean, in these kinds of relationships, you're usually already cut off, because the abusers will cut you off from people. But like production, and I know they have their whole rules. I was in a National Geographic show about survivor instincts in the wilderness. So that was a very different experience. But I know some of my friends have actually been on shows like this, and they do, like, you're not allowed to like talk to anyone but maybe the PAs or whatever. They do isolate you, and some of that is it makes sense. But this makes no sense. This is so dangerous. She said she felt like a prisoner and had no support when she told them that she didn't feel safe. And we also know that other contestants have complained about the fact that Love is Blind usually doesn't give them access to beverages other than like alcohol and like Red Bull type stuff and soda. But it sounds like a lot of these people are like pretty dehydrated. There's a reason why those cups are gold. There's been articles written about it, but I am sure that one of those reasons is that we don't know what they're drinking. Because I guarantee you a lot of those people are not drinking enough water. So back to other dangerous men. When I saw that they were going to be on this reunion, I was like, bleh. Because this man has been arrested for assault charges. This man with 426,000 followers on Instagram and is just so cute with his wife. And they're expecting a baby now too. Great. Well, now what's her face? Vanessa, what is her name? The host. Now the woman who is so obsessed with a Love is Blind baby and who literally like pressures these couples and asks them really inappropriate questions like last year's reunion. Those questions she was asking were so inappropriate. You do not ask women about their pregnancy status. It is such an invasive question. But she's finally getting the baby she wanted. But guess who's having it? This man who's been arrested for assault charges against a woman. Cool. Look, this is them at the reunion. They're like, this is just bleh. They also have a YouTube channel about their amazing love. Bleh. So what is it that he did? So this woman that he'd been dating for a few months, a while ago, before that he went on, they went out for some drink. They began arguing. Brandon grew increasingly upset and asked this woman who he's dating to leave, but she was uncomfortable doing so because she'd had a few drinks. Oh, she doesn't want to drive home drunk. That makes sense. Things escalated to the point where he allegedly grabbed her by the arms and threw her against the wall, which resulted in her hitting her head hard enough to lose consciousness for a brief moment. That's right, this nice guy did that, allegedly. When Sarah came to, he was apparently striking her with both hands, as well as pushing her and scratching her. She told the police that she slept on his couch until she felt well enough to drive, i.e. like not drunk and also like not beat up and unconscious. Ugh. At which point she told her mother what happened. The two went to the hospital where Sarah was diagnosed with a concussion as doctors observed some scratching and bruising. Photos of her injuries were taken by the hospital, and Brennan was told by the authorities not to contact her. Okay, so even though this is all alleged, we got hospital people involved. We got photos. We got the police involved. And I'm guessing there were probably some witnesses too at that bar. So I don't know if he did it or not, but the fact that he got on this show after this happened, it's reckless endangerment. It's they're not really sure if he was stuck in jail for a while or what happened, but he didn't post bond until May 4th. I don't know. It's really hard to find information on this, but it has been written about a lot. And the Daily Beast, who I Love writing for the most. One of my favorite publications that I've written a ton of stuff for. They're the ones who broke this story. You can read it here. This is a full breakdown of it. It looks like this. This all was just a few months before they started filming. Now, I don't know why, but a judge decided not to indict him. That absolutely does not mean this man is not unbelievably guilty. Because as we know, you can show up with all the proof in the world. And if your daddy knows the judge or you're just a white man, and nothing gonna happen to you. But the counts that he was supposed to be brought up with were 1 count of aggravated assault causing severe bodily injury. The charge is a 2nd-degree felony and carries a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 2 years in prison. Officers noted that they saw bruising on the back of her left arm as well as scratches on her wrist, so the police saw it. And I do not trust police because over 40% of them are admitted abusers. I would be willing to bet it's way higher than that. But it's very unlikely that the police are lying about seeing that because they usually lie about not in favor of women. And if you are a Black, Indigenous, or another woman of color, but especially a Black woman, when the police get involved, you could actually die because of police brutality. And I've talked about this in a lot of videos. There's nothing that Black women can do in this situation that doesn't involve a great degree of danger. I don't know if this woman was white. I don't know her race, but maybe that played into it. Who knows? I don't know. I can't find any information on that. But I do know that there were police report noting the reality TV contestant simply signed a family violence affidavit, whatever that is. He posted a $5,000 bail, and this was all a few weeks before Love is Blind started filming. Now, I forgot this part, but apparently he proposed after 1 date with Alexa. I don't remember that. Ew, big red flag. I like the ones who propose first usually end up making it, but 1 date? What? This was also, remember, that's the season where that the hosts were remember Colleen? We were all really worried about her because her dude, Matt, scary man. But they were at the reunion last night. I'm like, okay, so you have one guy who was accused of beating up his girlfriend. Another dude who gave me no reason to believe that he's not going to beat up his girlfriend. Another dude who the police were allegedly called. If you go, I'm going to link the video. There's a 4-part series of his ex. And she says this man is absolutely terrifying. He's violent. And he had so many pew-pews that the police were worried about her. They found him behind the couch. They found him everywhere. This man is a psycho. If you saw the way he behaved last night, calm, cool, collective, like most abusers are when they are discussing any allegations against them, they're like, the way that they just stay so cool and calm is how people believe them. And this man, oh God, he's so scary. I mean, even scarier than Matthew, who I was like, to me, is just on the Inchmel school pew-pewer spectrum. And I've done a whole video on him. He's a liar, manipulator, and has been watching too much red pill content. Look at this man. He's plotting how to unalive all these women on the stage who are calling him out right now, except for her. To quote Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost, "You in danger, girl. You are in danger. Get out." And then we have this dude. Like, he literally could not just not lie. And they're like, he literally asked for permission to leave because he was like, I forgot my lie. What was my lie? And they're like, here are the text. And he's like, I was in a toxic relationship. Like, the dude just was like talking in circles. And finally he's like, can I leave? And then he walked away in shame. But they didn't hold anyone else accountable. I like her more now. Still think that letter she sent to Jimmy was dumb. It made no sense. Wasn't about but she does seem like a lot more of a girl's girl than I gave her credit for, especially because I think she's friends with Chelsea now. They didn't hold this dude accountable at all. Jimmy just seems like they did prove that he lied about some interviews, but all these men just suck. And the way this man, she was just lying to 80's face. I hate the way these men treat women. I swear to God. This show is so degrading to women. The only thing I like about this show is that the friendships that these women have with each other and the way they try to look out for each other, except for you, Sarah Ann. But they just put them in danger. All these women are in danger, I think, because they fall for these men who are so traumatized and unhealed and haven't done any work or are literally Izzy's or some other sort of predator or literally violent men who have been accused or charged with DV and nothing happens to them. They can just put them on the show. God, this drives me nuts. One of these women's going to get killed. Before I go into more specifics about how this man is a psycho, I mean, the fact that he wore a Hawaiian shirt and looks dead inside the whole time, just like wouldn't answer questions. I'm going to go a little bit more into his story and a little bit more as to why I believe that he was actually not only prosecuted but found guilty of pulling a on his ex. But let's just go back to other crappy things, okay? Because there's even more information on his ex, you know, that he was engaged to, that we've found out. Like, this is why I don't know if I can cover this show anymore. Not only because I don't like supporting this show, but I also like to use it as teachable moments, but because it is exhausting. It's exhausting doing content on this show because every time I do all this research, get it all in line, then something else breaks about how psycho another one is or how much more psycho one of them I've already talked about is, and I can't keep up. It's endless work keeping track of how psychotic these men are. What's even scarier is these are men that are on a TV show with cameras. They couldn't protect Renee or whatever her name is from Carter with cameras. Like, there is no telling what these men are like without cameras. Just don't think people understand how terrifying men are. And if you've never dated one, good for you. Oh my God, I'm so happy for you. But this show is it's too true to life. It's too true to life. Ask any woman who's tried to date men, like at all, but especially more recently, where men can go and just lie on dating apps and stuff like that, even when they have professional casting agents and producers who are supposed to be, you know, filtering. This is what we get. Now, I'm not convinced that they're not purposely doing this, but I also know that one thing that they do not want is a lawsuit. So why are you not vetting better? Before I move on, because I've already talked about this dude. I can't stand this man. But also, in addition, you know, to all of the lies and all the receipts about the lie, allegedly he literally threatened to release, nude photos of the woman coming out with those receipts. It's something about like to endanger her child or something. Like, I don't even know. I can't keep track. The journalist in me wants to be so accurate and give you all these details, and I am. But like at this point, it's all like it's just morphing together of they all suck. They all suck. They're all scary. Unless it's them or these two. I'm scared for all the women who are involved with any of the other men. I'm not scared for her, actually. I think Ken seems like a pretty nice guy, but every time I think someone's nice, you know? And then there's also rumors that maybe he's not straight. I don't know. I don't even know what to believe anymore. But all I do know is when somebody comes through with a police report or an ex, you can go look her up. She has 4 videos. Ginger snaps. There's no way she would have come on here. Look, I'm sorry, but this woman, like, look at her profile. She was just like, having fun doing random stuff. And then it was like, I don't want to really do this, but I feel like I have to. And the story is terrifying. She gets nothing out of this. I promise you, she's getting way more hate than love. And it's definitely not going to boost her career, okay? So I believe I can't see a reason for her to lie about this. Especially what Jeramy admitted after she made this. But I'll get into that in just a minute. Let's remind you how much Jeramy sucks. Not only was this dude engaged, his ex also caught him cheating. The same way, more or less. Like this man is so confident in himself. You saw him last night if you watched the reunion. He was like, he's so confident in his lies that I get why he keeps getting busted. Because he's just like, I've told y'all before, my boyfriend in high school, I have had not many boyfriends in my life because I didn't date most of my life. 2 of them have been to prison or jail. Boyfriend from high school, 10 years in prison for a Ponzi scheme. Such an arrogant prick narcissist that he literally was on 2 different TV shows bragging about how he got away with it. Because if he's going to be in jail, he's got to be the best prisoner. White collar crime and some other one. He literally just the man was so it's not confidence, it's cockiness, it's all that other stuff, it's narcissism. But that's what Jeramy reminds me of. He's just like, yeah, whatever, I got caught once before, I won't again because the rules don't apply to me. So the ex said, how many relationships started during March 2020? Like, so many relationships, like Risa Tisa, right? That was all March 20. Like, God, what a crazy time. I don't wonder how many women are paying the price of making a split decision that ruined or derailed their life because of a lying man, and a global pandemic scaring the crap out of all of us, or most of us, except for certain people who are like, nah. So she says that they broke things off mid-October. So they got engaged in December 2020. Broke it off in October 2022 after discovering his infidelity with a woman he sought out on a dating app. Oh, wow. You mean he's doing what I tell y'all all these men on the dating apps are like, have girlfriends, most of them, that I realized, like, why are they texting me all the time but don't ever want to meet up? Married, engaged, girlfriend, or worse, or best case scenario, lazy, and they want an OnlyFans without having to pay for it. Do not ever send these men photos. She found him cheating in a similar way that that Laura did, sharing his exact location on Snapchat with all of his friends and didn't realize it. And that's how she caught him lying about where he was. Oh, he has a history of lying. He was telling me he was in different locations and I could see exactly where he was. Just like Laura. And Jeramy still had the gall to be like, no, I swear we didn't kiss. We were in the parking lot. Like, shut up. Do you see why women go crazy? We look crazy because we know they're lying, but they won't admit it. Ugh. I could see him in real time. He was driving home, so essentially the exact same. Hey, Laura found her. And she found out that he found her on a dating. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than one. He did move out 10 days before the Love is Blind message, whatever Jeramy posted. But listen to this. If you don't already hate him, but you're an animal lover, now maybe you'll hate him. Sometimes people will only hate men if they hurt animals, but not women. It blows my mind. Not even children. Oh, no. Oh, he kills tigers? Run him! He left his dog. We got another Trevor. God, these men. Trevor left his dying dog to go manipulate women on a dating show and get famous. Look, she says, even though he moved out, they were back and forth. They weren't really broken up, it sounds like. I had several reasons that I suspected he applied or was interviewing with casting while we were still together, but I don't have proof. See? She's being transparent. She's not like, he did. She's like, I mean, women know. We know. And I'm going to tell one little tip. I have found this out with a lot of women that I know. If they're having constant anxiety and something like they're just having, and none of it makes sense, a lot of times that is when your husband is doing some stuff. I tell you, every time. Someone's like, I was waking up panicked, They don't know what it is, but they know. They just don't have proof. And until we don't have proof, we're just like, I'm crazy. I even tried to reach out to Laura, and being like, hey, like, this is what I want to see more from women. And I got to go over this story with y'all because I wrote about it for the Huffington Post, but I want to tell more of the story. Maybe I'll do that once I get I'm trying not to share as many of my personal stories on here because, well, I have a lot of reasons. I became good friends more than once with the women that were like cheated on me with. And man, they were just some of the best people I've ever met. We were all fooled and lied to. And no one understands the mind forkery of that one man like her. But instead, women end up hating each other. That's what they want. That's what these men want. I'm not saying you should forgive all these women because a lot of women don't care. Like Sarah Ann, I'm not convinced you're ever going to come around, but try to give you some time to realize that you made a fool of yourself. And also, I'm scared for you. This man's dangerous. So let's listen to what the lawyer said. So Jeramy was not only terrifying to his ex, he pulled a pew-pew and put it like in her face or whatever. And all this other stuff. I'm going to link one of her videos and you can see all the rest. But this is the lawyer responding to Jeramy's ridiculous response to these allegations.
Despite denying that the night ever happened, Jeramy makes several very damaging admissions during this video. For example, he admits that the cops were at his house that night. He also admits to having guns in the house. He then also admits that he turned his guns over to the police. Didn't you just say that this never happened? He also argues that this couldn't have happened because there's no police report and no evidence. That does not mean that he wasn't charged, prosecuted, and convicted of a crime. The police report and the evidence used to charge Jeramy with a crime would have been contained within the prosecutory file. This can be sealed by court order.
Go watch the whole video. It's linked. Just because it's not in public record doesn't mean it didn't happen. You know who is on public record? You know what happened? can be almost sure that the producers didn't care about? Brendan, oh, that's his name. I called him Kenneth. I don't care. The cowboy. Look at this happy, soon to be dad. All these women need to start suing these production companies. Get paid